Hey everyone, have I here bring another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. In this video, we're going to be doing a full breakdown of the Dokkan Festival exclusive Bardock. So with that, if you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So of course, this preview came out last night on the official JP Dokkan Twitter page. And there's a lot of disappointment I've been hearing or seeing when it comes to Twitter, and I want to kind of dive into it and see if people are maybe a little bit overreacting or if they're absolutely correct about this Dokkan Festival exclusive Bardock. So first and foremost, these are the two units that were previewed here. We're going to have a Dokkan Festival exclusive Super Tech Bardock, which actually was correct when it comes to my prediction. So I did do a prediction video right before this, and I said, well, based off of the 200% leads that we have here, it makes all the sense in the world that it's going to be a Super Tech unit. So I was correct on that. And unusually, we have a Team Bardock, but the unit is just called Torah. Not sure why they ended up doing this, but it is going to be a super int type there, and we're expecting, because a lot of people are going to compare this unit, the Bardock that is, to Ginyu Force, because it makes a lot of sense to have a Team Bardock version of the Ginyu Force version, which was done really, really well. But I think that's where the beginning portions of the disappointment starts, is that initial comparison, which this is not like the Ginyu Force setup, which we had two banner units. One was amazing tank and the other was support. Torah is more of a support unit, and then Bardock definitely isn't the type of unit that Ginyu actually was. So but let's go ahead and break it down here. And my prediction, let's quickly talk my prediction. I think I did a good job on the leader skill, but the rest of it wasn't all that great. I wish they would have done it like my version. But if you want to check out my my prediction video and see how I compare, you can definitely go ahead and do that. So here is the breakdown here. Shout outs to the homie Goresh for the translations. Let's make this a little bigger so we can all see. The big plus about the leader skill is it is a Goku's family and pure Saiyans, 200%. That's really strong, right? You can run all of Goku's family, which Goku's family is a really, really huge catalog and a lot of great units on there. And then basically every Goku and Bardock is going to be a 200%. Of course, all of Team Bardock is also 200% as well. So I think they did a good job here. My version of this was a triple double, and I always forget that story figures, Team Bardock's on story figures. So what I did here, let me kind of go back to my prediction here. I did Goku's family Team Bardock story figures 170%, and then Space Traveling Warriors Low Class Warrior at the additional 30%. So this is better because of the pure Saiyans. So anything they would do that, but hey, I'm glad that they did. So kudos and a plus on the leader skill. I think that's the one of the strong points about this unit here. The super attack, it is greatly raises attack and defense for one turn and causes immense damage to enemy. It didn't have the additional thing that I added on here, was seal super attacks, which would have been nice utility, but this doesn't stack either. And I think that's a beginning disappointment of the unit here. Again, comparing it to Ginyu is probably wasn't a good thing to do, but it would have been nice to have a stacking type of unit on here, and it kind of does with the passive. We'll talk about that in a second, but greatly raises attack and defense. It is a 50% boost, so that's nice there too. So it's better than just your normal like raises defense at 30%, or if it's attack and defense, it would have been only 20%. So 50% boost to a defense, and then SA multiplier at 50% is really nice. So the passive skill, it does have an interest animation. The interest animation, you're able to activate it when there's a Goku on the team, or if there's going to be a Frieza as an enemy. So makes sense there. Then upon the activation, and that's important there, upon activation for 5 turns, which I think is a little limited for what we're getting here, you're going to change random key sphere types to rainbow key spheres, and then attack 70%, and then reveals location of the enemy super attack. The scouter is really nice, but for 5 turns, it's only going to be beneficial like on Super Battle Road and stuff like that, or like harder red zones, maybe like Wicked Bloodline. but it would have been nice to have it toward the end of the fight as well, or had something you had to do to get the super attack, maybe like additional rainbow key spheres or something of that nature. The random key spheres, I wish they would have removed that and put it into just the normal kit, because having it only 5 turns, this would have worked out much better. It would have been a much better unit if they included the rainbow key sphere changes within the normal passive versus the only 5 turns. They could have just kept the attack and defense at 70% and reveals location of super attacks for 5 turns or maybe 7 turns. I think would have been a better improvement here, but that is the entrance animation buff there. Now, when you're looking at the kit, the first thing that jumps out to me was attack and defense is only 150% boost. It's key plus 2 and attack and defense 150% boost. Again, trying not to compare it all the way to Captain Ginyu, but it was at 180% was Captain Ginyu's there. But they do make it up because you do have the opportunity to gain attack and defense for each super attack performed up to another 120%. So here's where they make it up. This is a very, very strong. So you're going to build up this Bardock here. Now, the goofy thing about this is it doesn't have, because you want to have more super attacks, it doesn't have like an additional attack with the opportunity to proc another super attack. So you're going to have to use hidden potential to really try to boost that opportunity to get an additional attack and proc an additional super, because if not, it's going to take you 3 super attacks or 3 turns or 3 rotations to max that out. And you might be at the end stage of a fight, maybe around that time. No, maybe not. So anyway, it would be nice to have that additional attack benefit on here. So this is an interesting feature here. So you're going to get effective against all types when you're able to get 1 key sphere, gain an additional attack and defense 50% when 2 key sphere, or sorry, not key sphere, rainbow key spheres are obtained, and then 3 rainbow key spheres, you're going to get a critical hit. I wish they would have exchanged this. The additional attack and defense, I wish they would just been 1 instead of 2, because sometimes you just can't get 2. Especially, you can do it when you're able to randomly change key sphere orbs and have the orb change. But once that goes away, it's going to be a lot harder to gain that additional attack and defense 50%. And I guess the reason why they're thinking like that, well, hey, you should have already built up this 120% already. So maybe that's what they're thinking of there. So the attack effectiveness is all types. You're going to get that additional boost there in attack, but then critical hit, of course, is better than that. They could have added like another one, like if you had 4 rainbow key spheres obtained, maybe have the scouter activate as well. Something like that would have been nice, because 4 is very, very difficult to get. 3 is very difficult to get, especially when this runs out here, the orb change. So again, is this like a very special or very hyped passive? Not really. They could have done a little bit better on some things here, but when you start to build this up, 150 plus the 120% plus the 50% here, that's going to be very strong, very, very strong there. So but again, we'll see when it comes to testing on there. Now you have an active skill. It is able to do basically 3 or more turns have elapsed at the start of the battle, and then there's 3 allies belonging to Team Bardock, which you should be able to go ahead and do. And or 5 turns or more have elapsed, and your and the HP is 50% or less. So that's not too bad. Causes also damage to enemy, and then all attacks become critical hits. Fine. Wish would have maybe a little bit increase of attack would have been nice there as well. So, but it is a really cool animation, which we'll show at the end of the video here. Now, let's go ahead and look at the links and the categories. Pretty, I won't say basic, but basically is like the physical Bardock, right? So, same warrior race, same Laters, family ties, Team Bardock, same pride, prepare for battle, fierce battle. Categories, it is going to benefit a few different categories here. You have Goku's family, of course, story figures, pure Saiyans, low-class warrior, Team Bardock, all-out struggle, space traveling warriors, connected hope, entrusted will, and bond of parent and child. So at least there's a lot of different categories that you can use this unit on. However, it seems like it's going to work well more so on its own team. So that is the Bardock. Let's go ahead and look at the Torah. So the Torah here, again, not sure why they ended up just calling it a Torah. They could have added all the names on here, or part of like just Torah parentheses Team Bardock, so you can use maybe the other Torah, right, as another support unit. So this unit here is leader skill, story figures, category key +3, HP and attack defense 130%. Super attack is raises attack for 1 turn, causes supreme damage to enemy and super class allies. Attack 30% for 1 turn. That's the problem with the super attack class allies increased by 1 turn at 30%. You're generally not going to run this on the first slot. So it would have been nice to see it at 2 turns. That would have been nice to see it at 2 turns. So passive is key +2, attack and defense 150%, gain attack and defense 50% when performing a super attack, gain an additional attack and defense 20% per story figures category allies on the team up to 100%, which now you're stacking pretty strong here, right? And then gain 10% to perform a critical hit, chance to evade enemy's attack, or damage reduction for Team Bardock category ally in the same turn. So you can get 30%, I guess. Yeah, 30% of evasion, damage reduction, and critical hit all. So could you run this on the first slot? Possibly, if you have enough. If you're running a full Team Bardock team, possibly you can run it on first slot here. 30% damage reduction, 150%, 50%. What's going to be the yeah, it's not going to be super high defensive stat. Okay, and then you have story figure category allies, key +3. So this is the support unit there. And then you're going to get all allies, attack and defense 30%. So you have to run this unit with the Bardock. If you run this unit with the Bardock is going to be really, really strong. So, because you're going to have additional attack and defense 30% to the Bardock, and additional attack and defense +3 key to the Bardock. And can you run this in first position? If you can run this in first position, then you have an amazing, amazing rotation, right? Because that 30% damage reduction with 30% chance to evade, plus you have, it's an int, so you're going to have internal evasion as well. Interesting there. So links, it'll link fairly well. You got same warrior race, cold judgment, same lineage, Team Bardock, same pride, prepare for battle, fierce battle. It's only going to be running on story figures, low class warrior, pure Saiyans, Team Bardock, and space traveling warriors. Is this on space traveling warriors? It is on space traveling warriors. Okay, so all right. Interesting. I think the Torah does definitely work really well with the Bardock. However, can you run it on first position is really the question. Is 30% damage reduction strong enough? And you have to have it with the full Team Bardock category ally, or one category ally attacking the same turn, which would be the Bardock. So we'll be interesting to see it in action. So again, so one of the things we have been, I guess, I've talked about this throughout this video here, is the comparison to Ginyu. So when you look at the Bardock here, right? Look at the Bardock here. Key +2, attack and defense 150%, another 120% boost with 3 super attacks, 50% with 2 or more rainbow key sphere obtained, and then greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn. If you want to compare this to the Ginyu, right? The Ginyu is 180%. And then you have an attack, but not with defense when performing a super attack. But then you have that additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack. That's really where the advantage goes to Ginyu, where now you're stacking the defense on top of the additional attack. If Bardock had the opportunity for additional attack like Ginyu does, that would have made it a much, much stronger unit. Now, on top of that, you have the Ginyu Force category allies, additional plus 10% up to 50%. Generally, you're going to max that out with Ginyu. And then it is also an internal support unit as well. It would have been nice to see a Bardock being like 30% to allies to attack and defense for story figured allies. That would have been nice to have on here as well. So I think that's the reason why Ginyu is popular, because it's its own support unit, and it's very strong that way. And of course, it does have a transformation, which you do transform into this beast of a unit here as well when you're having 200% to attack and defense with an additional 50% attack and defense up to 50% and a chance of performing critical hit and chance of evading enemy's attack, and then 10% with each attack performed up to 50% and a high chance of foreseeing enemy super attack when you have Jaces on the team. So again, it would have been nice if Bardock would have had that utility to do a scouter later on the fight if they had like maybe 4 rainbow key spheres or something of that nature that's like maybe harder to get, or when Torah's on the team or something like that. Would have made it a lot more better utility. But when it comes to all stats though, when you look at the stats and the boost there on here, a built up Bardock is going to be really strong, right? 150, 120, 50 is better than 180. Then you're not even gonna get attack and defense on the super attack here. So 180, 50, and then another 30, right? The biggest difference, of course, is the stacking ability of Captain Ginyu, and that's what's going to make this unit a little bit higher utility on a longer event versus a non-stacking unit like Bardock here. So when you start looking at like, okay, how many stacks does it take to match the defense of Bardock? Well, you're at plus 20, so probably like 3 or 4 super attacks. Let's say 4 super attacks to equal up. So that's not that many, right? It's not that many, maybe 4 or 5. So again, I think that's an added advantage where Bardock, and I think a lot of people when comparing it to Captain Ginyu, is disappointed. And I think that was the initial, that's for me too. I said, oh, this is going to be the Team Bardock version of Captain Ginyu, and I'm excited about that. But I think once you test this unit here, it's going to do well, especially when it's with Torah here. Torah is definitely its best friend, and having it together, I think Bardock is going to perform very well. But again, that's going to be more of a niche type of situation, right? So anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and finish the video with the super attacks, and we'll end it there. So keep on Dokkaning. We'll catch you next time.
全てが変わる。この俺の運命。